This is what that stolen AR-15 would look like. Now that you've seen the weapon, we want to show you what it can do. As you can see, it's not your average gun, and that's why it's a top priority for the Sheriff's Department to get it back. Southwest Airlines is still experiencing cancellations and delays, leaving many people sitting here, waiting. Truck drivers tell us this is nothing new. People have been hiding up here for years. They'll use any method to smuggle themselves in. You can no longer hear the gunshots and explosives that were ringing out in the early morning hours in Miguel Alemán, but Renee says she'll never forget the sounds that kept her up all night. Yeah, Polo, Stephanie, the lot behind me, lot T2, is where it all happened last night. It's between 1st and 2nd Street on Junior. And guys, when we were here earlier, it was roped off with caution tape. There was a uniformed police officer standing guard. And guys, I want to give you a look at it now. It's been opened back up to students, and students are beginning to fill it up.
Channel 5's Bill Barajas is live on the scene with all the details. Bill, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Dina, we're live south of Weslaco on 24th Street. This is where the FBI, assisted by the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office, conducted a search and arrest warrant for a man wanted out of the FBI Miami office, for his involvement in a drug case. Now, the FBI is still here. We want to draw your attention to that armored truck there that resembles a tank. That is the FBI's SWAT team's armored truck. An FBI spokesman tells me that when they arrived, the man inside fired at least 5 rounds at agents. They tell us they believe he thought it was a rival organization. After he realized it was the authorities, he quickly put his gun down and surrendered. Now, at this time, no one was injured, and the suspect is in custody. Now, we're working to find out more about this man, what his name is, and of course, his involvement in that drug case out of Miami. Of course, count on us for that latest information as it comes in. Live south of Weslaco, Bill Barajas, Channel 5 News at noon. New details in a developing story. Police in Mission are hoping the results of an autopsy will help them identify a body discovered inside a canal. That canal is located at Los Ebanos Road and 495, the same location where a teen went missing last month. Channel 5's Polo Sandoval has been following this story, and he joins us live in our studio. Tonight, the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office is launching an investigation into 4 horses found on a property dead north of Weslaco. 3 others had to be saved. The horses were located on a property near mile 4 west and 14 and a half. Hidalgo County's modern cowboy, Theo Martinez, tells us the horses were left there without anything to eat. We were there as Martinez and a few others worked to corral the surviving horses and load them up in a trailer.
We take it right now, the 3 animals, and we put them at the corral and fed it and give water and take care. And, you know, we're trying to find the owners.
Tonight at 10, we'll hear from the man who first found the horses and why he says he felt he had to do something to prevent any more horses from dying. Tonight, we have new details about a deadly auto pedestrian accident in Alamo. A man is behind bars, now expected to face charges for the crime. We first told you about the story yesterday. It happened at the corner block of Business 83 near Tower Road. Investigators say a Ford F-150 slammed into the victim as he was walking along Business 83. He later died at the hospital. The driver didn't turn himself into police until an hour later. Alamo police tell us he is now facing charges of intoxication, manslaughter, his 3rd DWI, and an accident involving death. More than 200 people are dead after a fire in Santa Maria, Brazil, and the toll could go higher. Smoke inhalation appeared to be the cause of death for 245 people who died, many of them college students. Officials say it happened after the insulation caught fire at a nightclub. Mark Greenblatt has the story.
Take a look at that forecast, Bill. No rain in sight, but possibly some hope. We just got word that Mexico is going to be releasing some water to the U.S. through the Rio Grande. Yeah, Mexico says it will soon release water, but one Valley irrigation worker says the amount isn't even a drop in the bucket.
A Honduran mother's worst nightmare could soon be coming to an end. Her attempt to have her son smuggled into the U.S. has left them even further apart.
That's right. Our Channel 5's Bill Barajas traveled to Houston, where she waits tonight.
They had one wish, to be a family again. The reunion between Miriam Moreno and her 2 children was supposed to take place here in Houston. That all changed when smugglers only dropped off one of the boys. On the busy streets of Houston and under the shadow of its tall buildings waits Miriam Moreno.
No puedo dormir, estoy bien preocupada hasta que ya tenga mi niño ya. voy a estar bien, pero tengo la fe en Dios que voy a tener esta semana noticias muy buenas de mi niño.
The Honduran mother made the journey to the States a few years ago.
No es fácil, imagínense, lavando trastes, de todo ahí, trabajando en restaurantes y todo ahí, muy cansada, y para comprarles, tenía el dinero para comprarle la casa a ellos.
Years after struggling to survive and saving money, she sent for her boys, 15-year-old Jerry and 10-year-old Jason. Jerry made it into his mother's arms on Friday. His little brother wasn't so lucky. The smugglers had a plan for him. Moreno began receiving threatening text messages asking for more cash.
Le doy una hora más. Si no los tiro a la calle, los tiro a la migración o miro yo qué hago con ellos.
Moreno was tapped out. She had already spent $13,000. Jerry warned his mother about the type of men they were dealing with.
¿Cómo estaba el camino para acá?
Es muy duro.
¿Por qué?
Porque los trataban mal.
¿Qué les hacían?
A veces me pegaban en la cabeza, los daban pastillas con jugo, yo creo.
Jerry, like any other big brother, tried to protect Jason, but he says the pills in his drink would put him to sleep.
Yo le decía que no se separara de mí.
The Morenos hold on to each other, hoping they'll be reunited again.
Hasta que me entreguen el niño, voy a estar acá, hasta que yo sepa algo de él.
When the bad guy stopped answering Moreno's call, she called the Honduran consulate.
La razón de ser para nosotros como servicio consular es porque estamos aquí, porque aún siendo ilegales, nuestros connacionales tienen derechos ante las leyes de los Estados Unidos.
Within hours, Jerry was found safe and sound. Zuniga tells us he was picked up in the valley by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Zuniga says he's not able to give many families this sort of good news.
Aquí vivimos experiencias tan dolorosas de madres que se van ellas, vienen con sus visas a preguntar y a la impotencia de no saber nada de sus hijos se van al valle y se internan a preguntar a los hospitales o en el desierto y ver a dónde pueden saber con una leve esperanza de que su familia puede estar vivo.
The Moreno family was excited to hear the news. Still, Jerry knows their journey to be together isn't over.
Estar con mi mamá, con mis dos hermanos juntos, estudiar y ser alguien en la vida.
The consulate's office and ICE will each hold their own investigation into Jason's case. The Moreno family will now have to wait until ICE wraps up their investigation to see whether Jason is allowed to stay here. The Moreno family situation mirrors that of many families. It's an example of the hardships they'll go through for a chance at a better life. In Houston, Bill Barajas, Channel 5 News. The former businessman owned a mechanic shop in Monterrey, Mexico. Life was good, then the cartels came calling. It may be just noise for some, but for a man who's spent his life in a mechanic shop, it's music to his ears. Miguel asked we hide his identity for his safety. He owned an auto repair shop across the border for 12 years. Then the cartels started making demands.
Empezaron a pedirme cuotas hace rato y querían una feria buena cantidad y no llegué a darles esa cantidad, llegué a darles otra cantidad menos pequeña y así estuve hasta que ya no pude.
The cartels asked for $2,000. Miguel could only give $1. Finally, all tapped out, Miguel skipped town and feared for his life. He went back 3 years later, hoping the cartels were gone.
Yo cuando fui de aquí para allá ya no tenía mi taller, ya estaban ellos adentro.
Miguel tried getting his shop back. He was sent to talk to one of the cartel leaders.
Yo hablé con uno de los grandes, supuestamente, no lo conozco, pero me dijeron quién era y fui a hablar, dijo, no, pues tú debes cuota aquí, dijo, es de nosotros el taller.
Miguel fled to the valley. He started working at a shop here. He was forced to start all over. He never gave up hope he could return someday. He tried again. He went to check on his shop a second time. He was on his way back from Monterrey. He was driving through Reynosa when everything went black. He was kidnapped. The cartels thought he was somebody with money. They brought him to a dark room like this one, where he was beaten and starved for a week. Finally, that blindfold came off, and Miguel was dropped off at some railroad tracks like these. He was told by his captors to follow the tracks and not turn around, or he'd be shot.
Yo pensé que me iban a matar. Dije, yo ya está aquí, y aquí quedé, pero yo le pedí mucho a Dios, dije que me ayudara.
Battered and bruised, he was able to call for help. He got it.
No puedo regresar para nada quiero regresar.
He tells us he feels safe here. The police aren't bought off by the criminal organizations.
La policía no te pone cuidado, porque la policía lo tienen de aquí.
Now Miguel tries to stay focused on the mechanic's music that plays in his ears as he works to make someone else's life better. Miguel's experiences south of the border make him appreciate his few possessions. He tells us he chose to speak out. He hopes more will do the same. He says it's the only way the world will know what's happening all across Mexico. Live in the newsroom, Bill Barajas, Channel 5 News. 30 students volunteered to be a part of this project. They've been charged with the task of joining an investigation over a year in the making. Step by step, they shovel, sift, and examine 6 piles of dirt 100 feet long.
You can only teach so much in a classroom, but if you're actually out in the field, that's a whole different thing. You get a kind of a hands-on experience like that. Trying to look at this stuff very carefully.
It's a learning opportunity for Professor Tom Pozorski and his students.
Well, basically what we do is grab dirt that's been set up for us to investigate. We put it on a tarp and we start looking through to see if we find any sort of either shell fragments, ceramics, or like bones. We found a few bones, but they were more rodents.
But mostly a chance to help a family move forward.
It's not only academic, but we're also trying to help and to see if we can find and kind of, like I said, give them closure on that.
We're looking for teeth or maybe the fingers or anything that could
get back to the family eventually.
The partial remains they are searching for belong to 59-year-old Elizar Delgado. He's been missing since 2010. Edinburgh Police Chief Rolando Castaneda tells us even though he's been identified, it's important to see the case all the way through.
It's very important because as a police officer, we work for the victims, we work for the victim's family. We want to make sure that we give closure to the families, and it's very important that we find or attempt to find every skeletal remains that we can.
Edinburgh PD and the student volunteers tell us the dig won't be over until every grain of dirt is overturned, broken up, and checked for any possible evidence. Today's excavation was called off at about 5 o'clock. We learned that at least 3 bones, human in nature, have been found. They've been handed over to a pathologist. We'll keep you posted on what they find. In the studio, Bill Barajas, Channel 5 News This Weekend. San Juan Police Chief Juan Gonzalez is calling it a brazen assault. A big rig carrying drugs forced to pull over by several men carrying AK-47s. All this in plain view on the busiest highway in the valley. The calls flooded the San Juan Police Department at around 10 Friday night.
911 emergency.
Yes, sir. On the expressway just east of the exit for I Road, there is a man walking with a shirt in his hand right in the middle of the middle lane.
14 calls later, it was clear what was happening.
911 emergency.
Yes, sir. I'm just calling in. I just saw some people in a truck stopped in front of a tractor trailer on the Expressway 83, and they had some guns. And they were running along the expressway. I don't know what's going on. I'm just wondering.
You said they had guns?
Yes.
An 18-wheeler carrying avocados, secretly loaded with drugs, being hijacked by men carrying AK-47s. The driver of the truck fearing for his life.
To this case, to any cartel-related, organization, but it is a cartel-related type of assault.
San Juan Police Chief Juan Gonzalez says the truck was later found torched north of Edinburgh near mile 17. The avocados were still there. The drugs were gone. Investigators are working to tie up the loose ends.
We suspect it was more than just marijuana. Mere fact that they actually did this as brazen as it was. Whatever load it had a lot more value than your typical marijuana load.
The last 48 hours have been crucial. Getting to the bottom of this mystery is Gonzalez's main focus. He tells us no matter what the outcome of the investigation is, someone will be facing criminal charges. Gonzalez says he will not tolerate this type of violence in his community. Chief Gonzalez tells us he still has several questions for the driver of the truck. He says the driver is the key to unlocking this case. Channel 5's Joe Augustine went out to talk to truckers passing through the valley. Joe's in the studio with what they had to say. Joe?